$50 per hour, federal minimum wage. This politician wants to hike the federal minimum wage up to $50 an hour. So she's made a statement, and this happened within the context of a debate, and then she got some pushback from other politicians, and she just told them, hey, you know what? This is my claim. We need to make it $50 an hour. So just do the math. And that's exactly what I want to do here. Let's take some broad math, apply it to some basic economics, and see how viable this actually is. Does it work? Does it solve a bunch of problems? You don't want to just throw things out right away without at least throwing some considerations. And that's what I want to do here. Throw out some considerations. Think through what a $50 minimum wage would allow to happen, and some potentially unintended consequences that I don't know if she's thinking about. And to add in a bit more context, Lee, who once owned and ran a business for 11 years. So she is a former business owner. So I would like to think that she understands this stuff. Although when you're a former business owner, I don't know what happened to her business, but let's just take this into consideration. So $50 federal minimum wage. And her argument was, you know what, we have an affordability crisis out there, and that's fine. But let's walk through how things could potentially work out. Now let's just take things from a housing standpoint. Yes, you have food and you have healthcare and you have all this other stuff, but let's just look at this from strictly a housing standpoint. So you have a group of people, and the claim with these group of people is, hey, we want housing, we can't afford housing, so we need to make it affordable so that these people can go and afford that housing. Now, what do you notice about the numbers here? There's some basic, like I said, we're doing the math here, and not to insult your intelligence, but just to keep us all on the same page as we walk through this, thought process. But there are 5 people over here, and let's just call it 5 families. So each one of those people represent a family, but there are only 3 houses over here. So clearly 5 is more than 3. But now that we have the $50 minimum wage, the argument goes, but now these people can afford that housing. Okay, yes, these 5 people can afford 3 worth of housing. So hopefully you see the problem there. Or in economic terms, the demand is more than the supply. Now you would then say, well, you're right, Clay. So at least 3 of those families, 3 of the 5 can now get into that housing. They can afford it. But the way you solve this, Clay, is, well, we need to add more housing. That way we can add more supply. Okay, fair enough, but let's now walk through that. Now these blue houses here represent the theoretical solution to the problem. Well, we need more housing. Okay, now houses, unfortunately, they don't just appear out of thin air. There is material that goes into it, and there is also labor that goes into it. In other words, people need to be paid to build those houses. Okay, so people over here are going to say, I'm a carpenter, I'm an electrician, I'm a plumber, whatever you want to, call them, but you're going to have people over here that are saying, yeah, I can go, you can hire me, and I will go, or we will go, we'll take our crews, and we are skilled, we have a trade skill, and we can go and build those houses. Now, here's the thing, though, is the person, let's just call it the project manager of that house, what are they going to need to pay these people over here? Is it going to be $50 an hour? That is the key question. Is this going to be $50 an hour now in order to get these people to build that house? Potentially, but probably not. Why? Well, because these are skilled laborers. They've gone to trade school, or they've learned electricians, plumbing, HVAC, roof, all that sort of stuff. They have learned a skill where they're going to rightfully say, no, my skill set is worth more than minimum wage, so you better be paying me $75 an hour, $100 an hour. So, okay, now all of a sudden the minimum wage, because that's just minimum wage, bare minimum skills required, you're not a trade specialist, just nothing, minimum wage. But now you're going to have these people rightfully saying, I have more skills than minimum wage, therefore pay me more. I want $75, $100. So what is that going to do from that project manager's point of view? So here's our project manager, and he's got his budget right here. He's a good businessman. He's a good builder. He's a good real estate developer, whatever you want to call him. but he is tracking the numbers. And this right here is going to be his C document, which means and stands for cost, right? So he is tracking his cost. What just happened to his labor cost? Well, you're hopefully saying, I mean, his labor cost just went up. Yes, it did. So it is now going to cost more to build these houses over here. Due to that labor cost rising, and the labor cost rose because the minimum wage went up, and these people are skilled laborers, so they're going to want even more than a minimum wage. So cost goes up. And then, of course, the other premise is people that are in business, they're not doing it just to break even. They are taking on risk. They're taking time away from their family to go and do this, so they rightfully want to make some profit. But if their costs have just gone up and they still want to make a profit, what is going to need to happen for those houses? Well, those prices of the entire house goes up, which means what are they going to need to sell them for? Or what are they going to need to be able to rent them out for? The same price as before? Well, no, of course not, because those same prices as before would cause them to be losing money. They need to raise the rent prices. They need to raise the amount that it is required. So right there, maybe you're starting to see the problem. Well, wait a second. I thought we were trying to make it affordable for those other people. Well, yeah, it's not anymore because of all the reasons just discussed. But then there's a secondary consequence here too. Now you're going to have somebody else over here observing all this, because think about it. What did he get these rented for? Well, he got them rented for an amount that is going to be lower than what this guy is starting to charge. So what's he going to say? He's going to say, wait a second. Instead of, and I'm just totally making this up, I was getting $500 a month, but this guy over here, he's going for $750 a month. Wait a second. Well, I'm not. If I can get $750, I want to get $750. So this amount no longer is $500. It is now also going to be $750 because in economic terms, this is the market rate. This is just what the general market is, where it's at in terms of how these forces are working. So now all of a sudden, these prices are at $750. And it used to be the $500 that was unaffordable, but now is affordable, but now it's up to $750. Which once again, do you see the full circle of this? We're right back to where you started. You have an affordability crisis at $50 an hour because all these houses and rents and stuff, well, they've all proportionally increased due to all the factors we've talked about. And in economic terms, this is just supply and demand. And yes, you can build more. Yes, you can add more, but part of adding more is labor costs. And if you are now required to pay that much more labor costs, you saw the domino effect of everything that just brought it right back to where it started. So that would be my pushback is, how exactly are you going to factor this in? Where does this fit in terms of, okay, yeah, I get it. You may make things affordable for a time, but as things play out, everything else is just going to ultimately bring you right back to where you started, unaffordable. So that would be my thoughts on this $50 minimum wage. I don't think it's quite going to long-term get people to where they think it is. I just think it's going to push up prices that much more because you have these various dynamics of supply and demand, people wanting to have their time valued, so they're going to be requiring certain labor costs. You're going to have other dynamics, with the people, business owners wanting to make money. Then you're going to have other people looking and saying, wait, that real estate developer is getting that price? Well, I'm going to start to charge that price now. And then you're right back to where you were. So no, I would say that the $50 minimum wage, as far as just doing the math, I see some problems with the math. Maybe I missed something. Comment down below. Maybe I'm not quite understanding what this person is arguing. From a math perspective, and again, her words, not mine. She's the business owner of 11 years. She's the one that told us to do the math, but I am seeing some problems in the math. And as I see it, I would say I disagree with the math after having done some basic math, but maybe I'm misunderstanding. So if you see something that I kind of left out or didn't quite factor in, like I said, by all means, let me know in the comment section. But yes, $50 minimum wage, First off, thanks so much for watching the entire video. Real quick, before you go, I want to invite you to a live webinar, web class, training, workshop, online event, whatever you want to call it, but it will be me live revealing to you what I've discovered that has allowed me to transform myself from being an employee to being my own boss, including how I had only one losing day out of 73 days in total. I'm going to cover 3 keys that have helped me unlock profitable consistency within the markets. The first key is super weird, but in a productive type of way. The second key is super awesome because it quite literally is wired into our DNA as humans, making it very easy to use. But in a cruel way, this becomes a pitfall for many traders. I'll explain it all though, including how to avoid the pitfall that it creates for some. And yeah, the third key, when you hear it, sounds way too good to be true, but it's not, and I'll show you how it all works. Then at the end, I open it up for a question and answer session that is, again, totally live. Even if you can't make the live session, please still sign up as it will be recorded, and you can go back and watch the replay that I will send you. Click the image on the screen or click the link down in the description box so you can get the date and time and claim your spot, which I should note is limited due to the fact that this truly is a live event. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, I'll be seeing you soon.